obeying. Amen? Because I've seen the benefits of obeying God. I've seen them. I've seen the benefits. And that's where we got to get to. We got to get to the point where we are drawn from His unlimited space and allow Heaven to influence every area of our life. Then and only then will you live a kingdom life. Amen? Amen. The kingdom process.
Okay? The kingdom process of spiritual adaptation. There are 3 levels to spiritual adaptation which completes the kingdom process.
Yes, it is. This is 3 levels. 3 levels that completes this process. See, people think it's just, oh, I'm reading the kingdom books, I'm reading the kingdom in the scripture. Now is coming the process of spiritual adaptation, meaning that we're going to start adapting ourselves to a spirit-filled life. A spirit-filled life is not a life talking about you go to church every Sunday. That's not a spirit-filled life. A spirit-filled life is a life in which the Spirit has preeminence over you. He said, are you spiritual? You're a spiritual person. I said, how you know I'm a spiritual person? We equate it with going to church every Sunday. Or being a minister or something. Oh, you're a spiritual person. No. Spirit gives birth to spirit. And if you're not obeying the Spirit of God, you're not living a spirit life. You know what I'm saying? If all of your solutions are coming from this earth realm, you're not living a spirit life. Oh, I know it's tough. Tight, but it's right. That's a spirit-filled life. People say the spirit was high today. Spirit is spirit. Spirit doesn't have a high, spirit doesn't have a low. The Spirit of God is a spirit. A lot of what we are encountering or we are doing is emotionalism. Emotions will go up, emotions will come down. But the Spirit of God is even killed. It's even killed. The Spirit of God is focused on the will of God. That's a spirit-filled life. And we're going to learn how to adapt to these things. We're going to deal with, first we're going to deal with eternalization. So we're asking our apostle.
Amen. Number 1, eternalization, the point at which information is new and begin to conception.
Okay. A lot of the information that we've been getting since we've been coming to Kingdom Summit Ministries is new. It's new. We ain't heard it before. See, this is the first step to that process. You're beginning to get new or different information. And this different information is coming, and now what it does is it comes in, it starts tearing down that old belief system. This is called internalization. It starts tearing down that old belief system. And things that we know it ain't working for us. Right. But we keep doing it. Why? Because that's what we used to. It wasn't working for me sitting in that barber shop for 3 hours. It wasn't working for me, but I didn't know no different. My wife said something through a counseling class of her counseling degree. She said, if someone is operating in something that we can look around and see that's bad for them, but they can't. She said, in reality, the counsel teacher is actually they're asleep. They're immune to it. They're asleep. It's almost like a state of being asleep. In a lot of areas in our lives, we sleep. And the Holy Spirit comes to awaken us. Comes to bring us this awakening to the ideals and the ways of the kingdom, or the ways of God. So eternalization comes, it says it's a point at which things are new, the beginning of conception, meaning that you start to birth something. You start to see things that are different. You start to see God in a different light since you've been hearing different teachings, you start seeing God differently. That's the beginning of the process of spiritual adaptation. It's internalization. Information becomes new. Conception begins to take place. And what a lot of people realize, if you read over John, it talks about, he said conception, it's like this. It's like the wind. Who knows which way the wind blows? You feel it, but you don't know it. You know, this, you can use the analogy as a woman when she gets pregnant. When you start seeing that belly, that's not conception. Conception took place way before that. But no one knows when it happened. And see, what happens is you're beginning to develop a kingdom mindset, and you can't really pinpoint when it started taking place, but when information became new, conception began to take place, and all of a sudden, eventually you should start seeing some results.
Right.
With that woman, you start seeing her belly after about 3 or 4 months, you start seeing her belly. Conception didn't take place then. Conception took place months in advance. See what I'm saying? So in our way of seeing it, you'll start to develop a new way of thinking. And you'll be like, wow, where did that thought come from? You open yourself up to the Spirit of God. Amen? You're dealing with internalization. Things are becoming new. Taking on a different way of looking at things. Amen? Any questions? I see a lot of eyebrows. Wrinkles this morning. Good, though. Good. Any questions? We'll go to Father. How many of you all had growing pains when you first came in here? You'd be like, oh God, what the world have I set into? Amen. My wife, Isa, she used to go to service and come back home, and I was locked in the house studying Kingdom Board. I would start hitting over some of these things. She'd be like, all right, I'm going to take a nap. It was foreign to what she was hearing, where she was going, coming back home to what I was saying. And I was like, oh, okay, we'll take that. It's all right, I'll be here when you wake up.
Starting over again.
Start all over again. I always stay here and listen to it now. Amen. But that things were new to me. You know, it was excitement. I was like, my God, I wasn't crazy. It wasn't crazy. Amen.
Amen.
All right, Apostle Ward.
Amen. Number 2, formalize. The point at which constant and consistent repetition creates persuasion and familiarity.
Stop right there. Once you step from internalization, you start dealing with formalization, you start, things become consistent.
Right.
It's like now, the things that used to interest you, don't interest you no more. You know what I'm saying? You be like, oh man, I can do away with that. You know, I know what my appetite is now. It becomes consistent, but and then it also, repetition creates persuasion. You be like, if you keep doing it, you be like, man, oh yeah, I got this. I'm gonna do this again tomorrow. And I'm gonna do this again the next day. You see, understand this, and it creates familiar, say the word for me. Yeah, Tracy said. What happens is this. What it does is, all of a sudden you start finding yourself in a space that you are comfortable in now. Where you was uncomfortable a couple months ago, now you be like, oh yeah, I can deal with this. You become familiar because now you, see, if you're not persuaded that it's true, you ain't gonna hang around alone. And see, a lot of people get to the internalization place and they scatter. Why? Because it's different information than from what they've been hearing their whole life. So therefore, the process is aborted. They never get to formalization because they abandoned ship because internalization was so painful. You see what I'm saying? You start saying, I don't know about this. Then you'll always find somebody else to say the same thing. I don't know about this either. And then you always end up, neither one of y'all know now. But if you can get past that internalization, where that new information starts to pour in at you, And what it's doing then is shifting your paradigm. It's changing your thought ceiling. It's shifting all that thing. It's just like someone when they go to military. When they go to military, what they do, they isolate them. And they'll tell you that you can't contact your loved ones. For this period of basic training, you can't contact your loved ones. They can send letters, but you don't talk on the phone and thing. What they're doing is they're using the same formula. They're using the same spiritual adaptation. They're using it to change the mindset of that person. They're coming from a citizen. Now they're giving up that citizenship. And now they're becoming a part of the government. So they said we can't have no outside influences while they're going through this process. So you can write them, but you won't be able to talk to them. And see, when you're going through a process of adaptation, the spiritual, you need to be careful how many voices are in your ear at that time. Be careful, because anytime they'll shut you off from your own parents, your own loved ones, they shut you off so they can groom you to what you need to be. This is the same way God. People understand when I was shut up in the house for over 8 years almost. I was shut up in the house. God told me to go shut myself up in the house and study kingdom. And they said, how in the world did he do that? I had to get away from all outside influences. I couldn't go to the services everybody else was going to. I couldn't go to the churches everybody else was going to. I was in this process. That process. And man, there was some growing pains. There was some growing pains, you know. You're coming from somebody that used to go to church at least 4 days a week.
That's right.
5 sometimes, 6. You didn't watch yourself. You know, now you telling me that you gotta go shut yourself up in the house and don't go nowhere. This was a process. Because see, now the information that you've been getting and you've been using is no longer be no good to you.
That's it. Not wrong.
Now when you hear that stuff, it makes you sick stomach. I can't say it. And I'm not gonna say it. Because I know what God has called me to. I had to shift. Now things are familiar to me. When the things started getting consistent, repetitious, some DVDs the Lord gave, I look at some of them 10 to 12 times, some of them 15 to 20. Repetition, over. It was pushing all of that other stuff out. Repetition. That's why I said, people say a lot of times when you purchase these DVDs, man, if you can't get here, you got something. If you can't get here, the website is always up. I didn't have this when I was going through this process.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And this is something God told me this morning. He told me this morning because I've been looking around and said, okay, God, I need to hear from you. He said, if you need to hear this, if you remain faithful to the kingdom process, he said your life is going to change dramatically. I'm not saying they remain faithful to Kingdom Summit Ministries. I'm not saying faithful or remain faithful to Prophet Ralph. Ain't gonna help. But if you stay faithful to this kingdom process, this mandate, your life will change dramatically. I guarantee you. Why can I guarantee you? Because he told me to tell you this morning. Stay faithful to the process. Don't stay faithful to me. Don't stay faithful to Kingdom Summit Ministries. Can't find time for Kingdom Summit Ministries in your schedule? Then you grab some DVDs. You look on the website, or you go find some Kingdom teaching. See, everybody trying to grab you and tell you you belong to them. You don't belong to me. I've been given an assignment to bring awareness to the kingdom in this region. And those that want to hear, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be here. Me and my wife said yesterday, nobody's going to be here. Me and Prophet will be here. My wife and We're gonna be here. And the awards, I told my wife, the awards are gonna be here. What happens is, listen to this. I can go through so much during the week or during the month, but there's a freedom when I get right here.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
There's a liberty in my soul when I get right here. I'm talking about sitting down, doing what I was purposed and created to do.
Come on now. Yes.
Purpose brings stability.
Yes.
And I'm like, God, if I could live here every day. He said, who says you can't? He said, because there's a time coming where you're going to have to do this every day.
Amen. Thank you, Father.
And he started telling me, Prophet Veney, when he's talking about it in the scripture, I said, there's going to be a time where there's going to be a great falling away in the house of God. And we've taught that for so many years as a negative thing. But God says it's going to be a good thing. Because it's going to bring the reality of the kingdom. I've always taught that the great falling away is people are going to leave the house of God. And God said it's going to be a good thing. Because they're going to leave religion for the kingdom. I've never seen it like that. A great falling away is coming. It's going to be a good thing. Because people are not going to be able to stomach religion.
Prophet, just hearing, what you were saying about this step, formalize, an indication that we are at that stage is we can't stomach what we've been sitting in. That gonna speak to somebody right there, because if you can still go back and sit in that, you're not at this stage. So that's an indication that you're at that stage. You can no longer stomach that religious stuff that you've been sitting in.
You just speaking out loud in the spirit.
I was just saying that was the bomb there. But really speaking though, when we talk about purpose and everything, I truly found my purpose in this training and everything, because in my religious setting and everything like that, I couldn't find my purpose. Then I was in the masonry and everything, I couldn't find my purpose in that. But in this right here, I knew it's my true purpose called to God, because like this morning when I got up, 5 o'clock this morning, just gets excited. To drive down here, my whole focus was to get here and get this message and this training. And that lets me know that this is my purpose of life. Because each and every day, all the training that I received from this, I learned how to appropriate it in my life. And I get good results. And this truly has made me a better person in this, And I think that being here, each and every time I come here, it really lets me know my divine purpose in this training.
I talked to your wife, I think I talked to both of you all, but God has showed me that you all was going to teach this on that end. Teach that on that end. And we're going to, as he was talking, I don't know how we're going to do this about it. Well, we need to find a place down there where we can bring the summit down there. I know y'all are talking a lot about it down there. We're going to set up something where we're going down there and teach. Y'all find a place, and we'll come. We'll come to Newport, Norfolk. We'll come to Norfolk, and we're going to teach. Amen. What happens is, what I think was down at Apostle Ward's when we was down there one time, and we started talking, and the Lord had me to teach and give me a revelation. The scripture says, the kingdom of God is as unto a man who searches for a pearl. And when he found that one of great value, he will go sell all that he has to buy that one pearl. And what God was telling me